but I'm scared. I'm just like, what the I'm a mess. I got my sprained ankle.
That's the whole point of this fight. It creates conversation, barbershop conversations, taxi conversations, airplane conversations, and that's what we want. The more people talking about the fight.
The crowd swung wildly from thunderous applause to shocked silence, then right back again, all within a few rapid exchanges. The matchup between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul had been framed as a meeting of generations, a former heavyweight champion searching for renewal against a digital age fighter determined to prove he belongs in real competition. Once the final bell sounded, online reaction exploded. Clips spread instantly, opinions flew, and analysts dissected every second from every angle. Not long after, both fighters addressed the moment themselves, measured, emotional, and unyielding. What unfolded that night went beyond a result on paper. It became a moment larger than either man alone.
At the end of the day, I'm a kid with a big heart that wants to change the world, disruptor, and I never took no for an answer, and I'm just chasing my dreams, having fun, and living the American dream, really. It's a testament to hard work, and every single day dedicating yourself to a craft, pushing through when you don't want to be there, and it all pays off in the long run, and believing in yourself, setting goals that people think are impossible. That's really what my story is all about, and that I hope.
There's a particular stillness that settles after a major boxing night. Not quite exactly, but a suspended moment before order reemerges. Medical staff move methodically. Coroners gather their fighters, and the noise of the arena gave way to closed rooms and private reckoning. When words finally reached the public, they felt stripped down and honest. There was exhaustion in them, restrained admiration, and a controlled intensity that only competitors truly understand. Joshua spoke like someone taking inventory of the battle. Opportunities missed, rounds that drifted away, brief exchanges destined for endless review. Paul, meanwhile, responded with a blend of confidence and stark honesty, touching on the emotional turbulence of the night. Isolation under the lights, the surge of the crowd, and the layered scrutiny that trails any disputed moment. In different ways, they landed on the same conclusion: gratitude for the stage, respect for those who watched, and a desire to let the moment settle before history compresses it into a single scorecard entry.
The skills, he has a very side-on stance, tries to practice the Philly shell, and I think Jake has a chance that is slim to none.
I appreciate it.
All good?
Thanks, Marco.
Thank you very much.
See you guys.
Heavyweight of the world!
Yeah, can you get my back? No. For the first week of sparring, I had to get comfortable in there and let things slow down and feel the power out and get the confidence to slip, catch, move.
Before the bout, forecasts flooded every corner of the sport, and they rarely agreed. Betting markets and most mainstream analysts positioned Anthony Joshua as a clear favorite. A view echoed across major sportsbooks and established media outlets. Data-driven breakdowns reinforced that stance. At CBS Sports, combat analyst Josh Nagel leaned decisively toward Joshua, even highlighting stoppage outcomes in his prop selections, citing Joshua's history against elite competition and his proven ability to end fights. Similar sentiment appeared at Yahoo Sports, where observers suggested Joshua was the most likely man to force an early finish, noting that experience, officiating tendencies, and the scale of the event could all favor the seasoned heavyweight. Still, the narrative wasn't settled. Prominent voices within boxing pushed back against consensus thinking. Tyson Fury, never one to soften opinion, publicly floated the idea that Paul possessed the kind of one-shot power capable of flipping the script entirely, even claiming he'd back Paul financially if given the chance. That endorsement alone fueled a sense that chaos remained on the table. Dana White offered a more skeptical but measured take, questioning crossover hype while acknowledging the nerve it took for Paul to step into heavyweight territory, a signal that the sport's power brokers were paying close attention, if not fully convinced. The fighters themselves added gasoline to the debate. Jake Paul doubled down on his long-running mission to disrupt boxing's hierarchy, confidently predicting victory and dismissing the idea that Joshua could stop him. He repeated that stance across media appearances, including high-profile shows during promotional run. That clash of certainty mattered. When a favorite is backed by statistical authority and the underdog has credible believers, the fight gains narrative weight. Every round feels amplified, every exchange loaded with consequence. After the final bell, analysis shifted, as it always does. Commentators reassessed their positions, some retreating from earlier claims while others defended them. A number of current fighters and former champions admitted they'd misjudged the pace or rhythm of the contest. Others treated the fight as a teaching moment. Amir Khan, for example, pointed to Joshua's ability to impose traditional knockout fundamentals as evidence of how classical power and discipline can still cut through modern spectacle. Across social platforms, fighters dissected footwork, ring control, and the unusual moments when crowd energy seemed to bend momentum in unexpected directions. What stood out most was a candor. Few attempted to mask being wrong. Instead, the conversation turned technical. How to prepare for a fighter shaped by social media attention, but sharpened against experienced opposition, and how a veteran like Joshua must defend not just against punches, but against narratives that can influence officials, broadcasts, and the emotional tide of the fight.
Well, it's very tough to say something about Joshua or Jake. I'm waiting for this fight because I'm so excited. But, Jake have a lot of chance to win, and a lot of people think he not, but I believe in Jake. Joshua is the best fighter and have a lot of experience in boxing. Is a heavyweight guy, but Jake improved a lot, and the people need respect both. Because it's not everybody have sorry my language, but have a balls for come inside the ring and fight.
From the opening bell, the energy was sharp and restless. Early exchanges hinted that Paul's unorthodox pressure and odd entry points could create problems. At the same time, stretches of the fight settled into classic heavyweight form: distance control, probing jabs, and deliberate power shots. Actions that seemed ordinary on replay carried real weight in the moment. A compact uppercut that froze the arena, a brief misstep that subtly shifted the momentum of an entire round. Afterward, both sides spoke with restraint and respect about those turning points. Joshua's team emphasized the command of the jab and the effectiveness of his combinations, while Paul's camp highlighted gritty inside work and a composure that challenged assumptions about his unconventional rise. What both acknowledged was the cost of the fight itself, a shared mix of validation, uncertainty, and unanswered questions that the contest unfolded in the ring. Its afterlife took place online. One clean exchange or near stumble became the language of the night, replayed endlessly across platforms. Analysts, public figures, and everyday viewers dissected technique frame by frame. A fleeting expression transformed into a running joke, spawning waves of commentary. Both fighters leaned into that ecosystem, releasing unfiltered moments from locker rooms and medical checks that blurred the line between access and performance. The result was something both personal and profitable, creating a sense of authenticity that felt less staged than traditional post-fight messaging. Behind the scenes, the tone stayed analytical. Trainers on both sides broke the bout down with clinical precision. Joshua's corner pointed to lapses in distance control and the importance of guarding against unpredictable attacks. Paul's team praised endurance and resolve, while openly acknowledging strategic gaps against an opponent with Joshua's timing and power. Neither camp reached for excuses. Instead, they spoke in a language of adjustment, why certain rounds swung, how tempo disrupted planning, and what needed refinement next. Their reflections sounded less like spin and more like study notes, meant to be carried directly into the next training camp.
See those big discrepancy in skill. Sometimes the better fighter carries the other fighter, or maybe goes a little easier. Is there any part of you that maybe thinks that way, or are you going in there 100%?
Zero part of me. And it's not even that it's Jake. It's just, do you know, I was actually looking at myself today. I'm a very respectful guy. Brought up by a good family, but if I can kill you, I will kill you. That's just how I am. And this is just the job I do, so.
The bout immediately proved its value beyond the ropes. Betting lines shifted during the fight itself and continued to move throughout the following days. Pay-per-view figures became a subject of intense scrutiny, while promoters quietly began mapping future possibilities. Media outlets and betting analysts updated projections in real time, underscoring how modern boxing operates at the intersection of competition and data-driven entertainment. Broadcasters and executives will be tracking replay numbers and subscriber bumps long after the final bell, because nights charged with drama don't just entertain. They bankroll what comes next. Moments like this convert casual viewers into invested fans and can reshape a fighter's commercial appeal almost overnight. While analysts debated technique, audiences debated significance. Social platforms filled with personal reactions and sudden loyalties. Longtime purists bristled at the spectacle, while younger viewers embraced the blend of performance and skill. Even neutral observers admitted they'd been swept up by the occasion. The common thread was clear. This was an event people were glad they experienced in real time. Both fighters acknowledged that support in separate messages, stressing that the scale of the night only existed because fans showed up and paid attention. Talk of second fight began almost immediately in the arena and never fully cooled. From a promotional standpoint, the logic is obvious. Unresolved tension sells. Publicly, both camps stayed deliberately vague, a familiar strategy that preserves leverage while allowing demand to reveal itself. Within boxing circles, there's a shared understanding. When a fight generates more debate than closure, a rematch is rarely far behind. By leaving their options open, both fighters made it clear the story remains unfinished. Health, however, took precedence in their immediate statements. References to medical evaluations and precautionary monitoring were consistent reminders that careers and lives extend beyond any single night. That emphasis helped temper some of the louder online speculation, shifting focus toward recovery and reflection rather than instant escalation. Fights like this also reset narratives. For Joshua, it becomes another chapter in a career defined by championships, setbacks, and reinvention. For Paul, it represents a pivotal test, validation, or resistance, for a path built on visibility and results under the lights. Both men spoke about legacy, though from different angles. One as something shaped over years, the other as work that must be done now. On one point they aligned. Legacy is defined by response. How they move forward, in preparation, in public, and eventually in the ring, may ultimately matter more than the outcome itself. As the night closed, both fighters struck a similar tone, appreciative of their teams, honest about the toll of the fight, and unmistakably driven. Each promised a return to training with purpose, leaving the sense that this chapter has ended. But the book is still very much being written.
Is that they're talking about is a massive bonus. So for me, I'm not worried about what people think about the integrity side. I'm more worried about, are they talking? And as long as they...
This matchup was a deliberate gamble by both men, and it's not one that will fade from memory anytime soon. Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul will be replayed, debated, studied in training rooms, and argued over by analysts for years. In their first public reactions, both fighters made a savvy choice. They spoke less about the verdict and more about the price of the night and what it gave back in return. Insight, mutual respect, and forward momentum. What comes next is still unwritten. That next chapter could take the form of a rematch, a renewed run at heavyweight contention, or entirely new opponents. What's certain is that neither man will be defined by one result alone. Their reputations will be shaped by how they respond, adapt, and move forward from here. Now, let's hear from you. How did you score the fight? And who should Jake Paul face next if he wants to keep making his case as a serious contender? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and make sure to follow along for more boxing coverage and updates.